to week 8 of the Coaches Show, already to week 8. I'm Adam Howe, your host. Alongside next to me is Wildcats head coach Ryan Bohr. Thanks for joining us again.
Appreciate being on.
All right, and we always appreciate you coming on. Are going to kind of look here at week 7, but gosh dang, we're already into week 8 of the 21 season.
I know. We keep talking about the last third, and then even playing last week didn't necessarily feel like the last third, and now it's here, and yeah, we're on the tail end.
And a lot of important things going on here with districts and stuff like that coming up, and we'll get to that here just a little bit later. But Wildcats and Butler last week, week 7, they both come into that contest undefeated.
Yep.
Probably one of the highest touted games in the state.
Yeah.
My guess. And I think there was only one other game that featured 2 unbeaten teams in the entire state, and I think that was Carthage Joplin down south.
Yep.
But besides that, we're the only other one was Butler Warsaw. So this game was touted by media, myself included.
Yeah.
That this was a big one, and it was dubbed as a slobber knocker. It was just going to get down and dirty, and this game didn't disappoint.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of, whether it be haymakers, whatever you want to call it, but it was a back and forth, and to both teams. I visited with their coach after, and just both of us said, hey, that's a heck of a ball game, and obviously for us, we want to be on the different end of it, but yeah, it was a great atmosphere, great game, and something that I pointed out to him was you typically don't get that type of caliber of game in week 7 of the regular season.
Probably not. I would agree with that. So, but nevertheless, you alluded to didn't come out to the way that the Wildcat fans would like it. They fall 28-22 to the Butler Bears. They drop to 6-1. Butler moves to 7-0. But we're going to recap that game here a little bit. So Butler wins the coin toss, and to me, when I saw them win, and then they decided to take the ball.
Yep. And
I thought, okay.
Yeah.
They're ready. They want to get on the board first, and they want to probably minimize our opportunities.
Right.
So they take the ball. Unfortunately for us, the kickoff gets returned for a touchdown. So you could feel the air come out real quick in that first minute of the entire crowd. But anyway, so we get down 7-0. But we're not gonna talk about that play. But then the second drive was just a kind of a traditional drive. They held us, and then they take the ball back, and it's just kind of a traditional drive. They just kind of put some plays together and strung some together. Ended up with a 4-yard touchdown run, I believe, made it 14-0.
Yeah.
So does the team panic at that point? First quarter, great crowd, senior night. Oh my God, is it deer in the headlights, or what's the mentality there on the sideline?
Yeah, it's one that, and especially I know for our younger kids, one thing that we repeatedly said all week was, hey, don't let this game isn't bigger than you, which is very easy for us to say. For them to get out in that atmosphere, that environment, and it's and I can't thank our fans enough for coming out. I mean, it was that place was rocking. But I think our kids were a little maybe for some maybe a little too geeked up, and so to that it was like I said, take a deep breath, settle down now. Even to our special teams, say, guys, we haven't given up kickoff return in 5 years. Just calm down. We're fine. You're fine doing what you do.
And some of that maybe comes with the youth. I know we put a lot of young guys out there on those special teams units.
Yeah.
And it could have happened to an upperclassman also.
Yep.
I haven't even watched the tape to even know where the ball was run or who was there.
Right.
Obviously, no one was there.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get to the Warsaw part. So Warsaw finally, they get on the board there. Early in the second period, I believe there was 8 minutes or so left or something like that. They score on a 6-yard touchdown run. That was Brady Slavin's. Just kind of another, kind of like we talked about Butler's drive, just kind of a traditional, put some plays together, convert some first downs. Brady cashes in on a 6-yard touchdown run. Huiveld, Thomas comes in, nails the PAT. So it's 14-7. We cut it all in half.
Yep.
So Wildcats actually did a really good job. We talked about this gentleman last week, and Brendan Patrick, and he was Butler Bears everything running back, and come into that game last week, I believe, in the top 10 in the nation for total yards. And I think he was number 1 in the state, and Brady was number 2 in the state in their class, in their respective classes.
Yep.
All kinds of offensive power going on there with Brendan Patrick. But really came into the game as one of the top offensive players in the country, yet alone Missouri. But held him in check for a lot of that first half. but then we forced them to go to the air, and something they don't like to do. I think they went 25 times coming through 6 games.
Right.
But that's exactly how they would score on a 3rd and short.
Yeah, we had a pin there, third mid-range, and but ball on the, I think it was on the 21,
Right.
and so they're back there, and we credit our kids. They defended what they were trying to do. It's kind of a busted play there, and kid scrambles around, chucks one up, and it turns into a big play, and so, that was tough. But again, to our kids, even when we went at halftime, it says, guys, eliminate the big play. You take away your 2 big plays, and you can't change it. But again, to our seniors, we credited a lot. Just, hey, let's stick to our game plan. It will work. Again, take away those 2 big plays, and it's a tie ball game.
Right. So they connect on a 79, 80-yard touchdown pass there, and that was just before the half. They'd hit their PAT, and it's 21-7 at halftime. Yep. What kind of adjustments do you talk to the kids about making? I believe you said it already. Probably it's not bigger than you.
Yeah. And that was the sense, guys. Hey, we spotted them 14. To that, come out. We get the ball coming out of the half, and and we talk about a few things, just assignments and alignments, but overall, like I told them, hey, we're very pleased. And something that we had stressed was, hey, 22 is their guy. You've done a good job of, taming him, controlling him. And we said, hey, if they have to go to the air, then we're in a good situation. And just so happened, like I said, they got one there. And that's going to happen sometimes. But again, to settle them back in and playing our style of ball, and and really to stress, hey, win the second half. Don't look at the scoreboard. And that was something early on we said was, hey, quit looking at the scoreboard.
As pretty as it is. We'll get to that in a little bit too.
Yeah. Said quit looking at it. I said do what we do, and then I said at halftime you can check it out, and then we'll check it out at the end of the game.
Right. So then Wildcats, after that halftime, they come out and actually score on their first possession, and that was when Brady connected with Cameron Severs, doing what Cameron Severs does, as we've said all year long. They connected on a 33-yard strike, and then Slavens fought hard for a 2-point conversion there. I think there was 8:02 left to go in the third, and now the score's 21-15, and maybe momentum starts to shift a little bit.
Yeah, that was big, and we were going to kick an extra point. They jumped offside, so we went for 2 there, and again, and then just like we told them, you're right back in that game. It's a 6-point game, and pretty much got a whole half of football left. And
right.
So we were right where we wanted to be.
Yeah. So then, of course, we talked about Patrick, and they actually did a good job on their next drive when they actually did convert on a couple 3rd downs. And then with time, let's see, he actually didn't kick. He actually ran in a 30-yard touchdown run that kind of took the air out of the crowd again. We just scored, and then he comes back and scores on a 30-yard touchdown run. That one made it 28-15. And like you told me following the game, you knew it'd be hard to keep him out of the end zone. He's a good player.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but then Warsaw got things going again on their next drive. A lot of tough runs, hard-earned yards, some 3rd down conversions. And then time's winding down in the 3rd, and Slavin marches all the way down. They get inside the 20, and then Slavens keeps it, I'm assuming, on a design keeper. This is stuff we don't know up in the box or in the stands, right? But then he comes in and took a shot that forced him out of the game.
Yeah.
So Tayton Boyer comes in. He's a junior quarterback. You know him well. But with ice in his veins, comes in on a 3rd down, and I think if I remember right, kind of went right, kind of came back left. He's looking for somebody downfield and really threw a ball that couldn't have been placed anywhere else.
Right.
And Cam makes another catch for another touchdown.
Yeah, he and we talked about it afterwards, and that's something I told him. I said, you come in the game like that. So a lot of times when quarterback has to come in for a play or two, the first thing you're gonna think is, hey, he's gonna hand it off.
Right.
Just kind of settle in. Coach Morrison dialed up pass there, and that's fine. We're fine, comfortable with Tayton doing that. But I thought the same thing when he let that ball go. I thought, maybe he's just throwing this out of the back of the end zone.
I thought it might have hit the apparel trailer.
Yeah. And then sure enough, there was Cam for it, and so yeah, that was great. And it's obviously it's nice to be able to do that. And I guess at the time I didn't even realize how close we were to the end zone. But
right.
be able to pop him in, not skip a beat, and be right back in it. That was big.
Right, and then Thomas comes on. He hits a PAT again, and that makes it 28-22. So, Wildcat fans, Butler fans, I'm sure everybody looking forward. Oh, this is going to be a big fourth quarter. It didn't really pan out that way.
Yeah.
It was, but no scoring.
Yep.
So Butler really winding down. They needed one more score essentially to put things away.
Yeah.
It could be a touchdown, could have been a field goal. They get the ball down all the way. I can't remember. It was inside the 30, I think. And they actually line up to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
And seal the win.
Yep.
Right? So this is when things start getting fun. So I believe in the press box we're talking about, come on, do something special, right?
Yep.
And they did. So tell us what happened there on that play.
Yeah, they drove down and got a close, like I said, 4th and 3 on the 18, and they get a first down on the 15. And again, our kids fight. That was the thing that I was probably most proud of all night, was just the way our kids continue to fight, never give up. We hold them out for 2, they get a delay a game, then stuff them on the same play that they got the first down before, and so they, like I said, they roll out their field goal team, and we take timeout, ice a kicker, and honestly make some adjustments for our attempted field goal block, and kids did a great job executing. There's a couple of them that got through.
I think Riley Taylor maybe is the one who got his hand on it.
After watching it, it seemed like 100 times. Riley Taylor was one that actually got the hand on it, and then Gage Whitaker scoops it up, and
he runs it out to our 46, I think.
Yeah, right around midfield there. And so to that, obviously, I mean, that's big time. And like I told our special teams, hey, in terms of a way to kind of get back that opening kickoff, that was 100% a way to get it back. And then the struggle there is you're out of timeouts, and there's only about a minute and a half left or something like that.
I think 1:33 was what we had left, or something like that. So anyway, that drive, Wildcats take the ball. They start at the 46. Actually completed, I think, 3 or 4 passes down the field. Like you said, no timeouts, trying to get out of bounds. Brady's pass, unfortunately, intercepted in the middle of the field, looking to make a play. And Butler essentially puts her knee in the ground, and they take away that 28-22 final. But what you ask for your kids, and what you ask from your kids, is to put yourself in a position to win at the end of the game. And they did that this week.
Without a doubt. And like I said, just an all-around team effort. And, again, we were able to take as much out of this loss as we were, out of a lot of our wins. And kids they did a great job. And, again, we've had a lot of great conversations from it. And I think we've had a great a week of practice. And you don't want to, like I said, you want to win them all. That's what you're working for. But I also pointed out to him, sometimes a loss like this at this time of year isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Right. And you'd rather take this loss than one in the first round of districts.
100%.
And I think we talked about it afterwards, and not that this is going to happen this year.
Right.
We're not telling fans this, but there was a team back in 1990 for Warsaw that actually took a loss even earlier than this in the season, and then went on to win a state championship. So sometimes this kind of stuff fuels you or humbles you to make a run there at the end of the season.
Oh, without a doubt. I was texting with Coach Morrow on Saturday, and I shared this with our kids on Mondays. I said, guys, I try not to go back in our day stories, but in sophomore year we had played a 6-0 Versailles, and we were 6-0 in mud game and lost that 7-0 at Warsaw. I said, guys, and it was great. It didn't feel great at the time, but it refocused us. And like I said, the next one we lost was at the state title. So not always a bad thing.
Yeah. So you said mud game at Warsaw. That was obviously before the pretty turf that we've got now.
Yes, exactly.
So looking at some stats here for that game last week against Butler. As a team, the Wildcats rushed 43 times for 214 yards. Kind of dipped our rushing average down a little bit, but still at 5 yards a carry, and you'll take that.
Yes.
So 1 rushing touchdown. Team passing, they were 6 of 11. Actually, more than that. Those numbers are wrong. I think we were 7 for 12 for 79 yards as a team, for 293 total yards. Brady Slavens finishes 24 times on the ground for 140 yards and a touchdown. He was 6 for 11 for 66. Right. And then Nick Bagley, Gage Whitaker, ironically enough, both finished with 37 rushing yards. And then Cam Severs hauls in 3 catches for 63 yards, had 2 touchdowns. Tayton caught 3 balls for 13 yards, and then he also completed the 1 touchdown pass to Cameron Severs. So, and then Grant Chapman hauled in 1 for 13 yards, and Thomas, of course, converted on 2 for 2 on extra points. So, Wildcats as a team put up 272 total points through these 7 games. Still average almost 39 points a game. You'll take that.
Yep.
And 376 yards a game. Have gone over 2,200 rushing yards for the year and are nearing 800 yards through the air. So, on defense, Nick Bagley led the team. He had 9 tackles from that linebacker spot for him. Jace DePriest, I like to call them diaper dandies when I'm doing the broadcast, stole that one from the man himself, Dick Vitale. But Jace DePriest, the freshman, 5.5 tackles. And then Brady Slavens finished with 5. He had a fumble recovery that was forced by another freshman, Kendall Bagley.
Kendall Bagley, yep.
So Wildcats as a team giving up 93 points on the year, total 13 points per game, and only 239 yards on the total. They are still 6 sacks, 7 fumble recoveries, 6 interceptions. They are still plus 10 after last week due to that interception there at the end of the game. So recap in Week 7, Wildcats lose 28-22 to Butler for their first loss. We'll look ahead to Week 8 versus the Skyline Tigers when we come back.
J&D Pharmacy Home Medical Supply is a locally owned and operated pharmacy. Our pharmacists and pharmacy technicians will provide you with the personal service you deserve. We are a full-service home medical equipment company and accept Medicare, Medicaid, and most commercial insurance. Stop by our pharmacy drive-up window, where we have 2 convenient lanes located in the rear of the building. We look forward to serving you now and in the future with all of your health needs. J&D Pharmacy Home Medical Supply. People helping people.
And we're back to Week 8 of the Coaches Show. Adam Howe alongside Wildcats head coach Ryan Boyer. And we've already looked at that Week 7 contest against Butler. Wildcats fall to 6-1, but they travel south to take on the Skyline Tigers this week, a 5-2 ball club down there in the Mid-Lakes Conference, right?
Yep.
So that kickoff set for 7 o'clock tonight. Skyline actually started off their season with a loss to Valley Catholic, but that's a good Valley Catholic team. So anybody that follows high school football knows Valley Catholic in Missouri. So then they come back, even their record at 1-1 with a win over Central. That's out of Springfield. And then they get in a close one, take a loss, though, 34-33 to Fairgrove. And I believe they had a chance to win that, just 1 for 2 at the end.
Yeah, that was another close one for them. And Fairgrove, like I said, they're a top 10 team at 2A level.
Right. And then, of course, Skyline has reeled off 4 straight wins since then. Big wins over Slater, Forsyth. They take down Clever 54-7 2 weeks ago, and then take down Lighthouse Christian out of Springfield 32-29, and a pretty close game there last week.
Yeah.
So they are 5-2 on the season, and well, look here as far as what to expect when the Warsaw offense takes on the Skyline Tigers. Skyline defense, obviously athletic. We know Coach Shelby. They're obviously well coached. Talk a little bit about the Warsaw offense and the way it attacks that Skyline Tiger defense.
Yeah, that's something, talking to our kids. Again, it's one of those games. It's no different when we play, Cold Camp or some of these where it's like, guys, hey, you've grown up playing each other, you know each other, and so you get a little bit of that rivalry sense.
And they've grown up because all the way down to youth.
Yes.
Skyline is in the youth football league.
Exactly.
So these guys have seen each other for 8 years now.
And I was like, it's a neat deal, exciting for them, and like I told them, as far as when we're on offense, they're going to come out, they're going to be physical, they're able with their skill guys to match you up as far as at the receiver position, play a lot of man coverage, which is something you don't see a whole lot week in and week out, and so that works to their advantage because they're able to keep guys in the box and, like I said, try to shut down your run and really stress you in the pass game. And
we've seen that in the past with Coach Shelby. He trusts his athletes. He trusts his players. And this is your job. Go out and do it. And you're going to be one-on-one with this kid. And we see that often with his programs.
Right. Yep. And to that, as the record shows, they've done a good job with it, week in and week out. And like I said, we don't expect anything different. And we know that, like I said, going down there late in the season, they're having their senior night and some things like that. They'll be ready to go.
Yeah. So then we turn around and look at the other side of the ball, the Warsaw defense, when we take on the Skyline offense. We know traditionally and from even watching film from this year that they like to put the ball in the air, and they're not afraid to. They've got the athletes to do it with. I like to call those high flying offenses, but they can do it on the ground with Woodhouse as well. And I believe their quarterback may be the most talented player on the field.
He does a great job. If I remember right, he's a 3-year starter for him. Yeah, it seems like he's been there forever.
Right.
And,
he can't graduate soon enough.
But one of those, he does a great job of, not just running their offense, but creating a lot, scrambling. Like I told our kids, guys, you watch film. He doesn't take a lot of sacks, and creates with his legs. He's patient with it, and just like I said, their offense 100%. It goes around him, but that's the other part. Once you really get to watching and breaking down run to pass ratio, they run the ball well, and it's not just 90% pass or anything like that. So you gotta be able to respect both.
Right. So looking ahead here, or looking back, I think I've done that before. But Wildcats, after dividing the season into thirds, go 3-0 in the first, 3-0 in the second, and now they stand at 0-1 in that final third of the season. So 6-1 overall, coming off their first loss. Talk to us about coming off of that first loss of the season, and how are moods or mentality, the focus of players, coaches, and the whole scheme of things this week?
No, it was honestly, it's been very positive, and that starts with our seniors. One thing that I pointed out right out of the gate was, guys, you just lost your Week 7 game. You didn't just lose your senior year, and something that we've kind of stressed or mentioned all throughout the season is this last third is very much playoff type football. For the next.
If there's anything that gets you ready
Yeah.
For the postseason, it is Butler, Skyline, and Buffalo.
Without a doubt. Where you can just see, you know, when we went through that Butler film, you can just see, hey, maybe if this one thing goes right, it's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
You know, and not, you know, it's a lot of little things like that. But, hey, just don't take them for granted, and how that, hey, you got to be dialed in for, you know, Butler, I think, ran 49 plays. So it's like, guys, hey, 12 plays a quarter, I need you to dial it in on defense. You
Right.
know, and then kind of vice versa. And Skyline being no different. You know, it's, hey, now we're moving on to this. It's kind of a different plan of attack, or how they, you know, how they approach it. And so just to refocus on it, you know, like I said, our kids have been positive. The preparation's been great. And it is nice now to say, hey, you know, these, you can kind of see how that playoff picture is starting to shake out, and go, hey, you know, this 100% has an impact of where we're at that week 10, 11, and hopefully 12.
Right. Okay, so looking at that postseason, kind of getting a picture of it, we'll get into this a little bit more next week. Don't want to confuse anyone too early, because things can still happen here. But right now, as it stands today, Butler still holds down that one spot now with the win over Warsaw. They've got 49 points. Lafayette County actually leapfrogs the Wildcats, and they move up to that 2 spot. They're also 6-1, and Warsaw falls to 3 at 6-1. But they're separated there by less than 2 points, so anything can happen. Again, Holden there at the 4 spot. They're 3-3, and then we see Versailles there at 5, Knob at 6, and Lone Jack with Kingsville there at the 7 spot. So, like we said, we'll get into that a little bit more next week when things are a little bit more aligned, hopefully.
Yep.
And then kind of explain how things will work throughout the postseason as far as being away or being at home to host a home game. So, looking here, we always like to touch base on our youth programs.
Yep.
And another good week for those guys, and really, really good week for the first graders.
Oh, yeah.
So they'd been hadn't won a game.
Yep.
And then, of course, that first and second grade flag group, they got to host games at Rainy Morrow Field there last week. So maybe that's what did it.
Oh, yeah.
But the first graders, a lot of these guys, and some are even younger than first grade, I believe, but they move up and challenge themselves a little bit. But they actually hosted a Sedalia team and came out with a win.
They did.
Last week.
Pretty
So
exciting day for them.
So, yeah, a big day for those first graders. And then second grade also won their game. They took on a Sedalia squad also, and I don't believe they've lost. I think they're undefeated.
I think you're right. Yep.
So I know it's hard for you to keep track of,
No, I think it is, though. Yeah,
but I
you're
believe the second grade is still undefeated. And then the third and fourth grade team, they actually all played. I don't even remember where we played last week.
But was it Osceola?
It wasn't Osceola.
Okay.
It was Windsor. Windsor. We were at Windsor.
That was my next.
So then the 3rd and 4th grade team, though, they beat Cole Camp. I believe it's 26-7. They moved to 4-1, and the 5th grade squad took down Cole Camp 48-0, and they're 3-1. And that 5th and 6th grade squad actually has played 4 games, pitched 3 shutouts.
Nice.
So giving up 0 points to 3 on 3 separate weeks. So they're, of course, those groups there are getting ready to, I think they have 1 week left here, and then their playoffs are all start next week. So things winding down for them. The 7th grade didn't have a game this week. They combined with the 8th, though, and they beat Skyline 26-0, shut them out on Tuesday night, and they improved to 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
So they're undefeated now, or still. And, of course, the JV team was off, I believe.
Yeah.
So no JV ball game this week. So there's kind of a recap for the youth. A lot of good things going on with that youth program, but things winding down. So if you've not had a chance to get out and watch them, I know that 3rd, 4th, and 5th and 6th grade group will be at Crestridge this weekend. It's a long drive, but well worth it. And I know the 1st and 2nd grade is back in Sedalia this week. So, and you said that junior high still has 1 game left.
Yep, they play at home this Tuesday. I don't want to say wrong on who they're playing,
but they do have a game Tuesday at home.
So. At home, 5:30 Tuesday.
There you go. And how's the JV schedule look?
Well, in JV, unfortunately, we were supposed to travel to Houston this Monday. On Houston's end, they had some COVID issues, quarantine issues, and so. Unless something dramatically changes, this that'll be it. For them.
They're limited to Friday nights now.
Yep.
So
yep.
Okay. So we've talked a little bit about the Wildcats program, what they do on the field, but a big event coming up this weekend that the Wildcats as a whole, the entire athletic program participates in. And tell us what you guys will be doing Sunday.
Yeah, Heritage Days obviously it has a huge impact on our community, and it's such a great event, and. To that, with our athletic programs, this is something that I always remember doing when we were in school, and we tried to bring that tradition back. Last year with COVID, we weren't able to, but as they wrap up on Sunday, we'll bring all of our athletes out from all programs and help clean up, help the vendors pack their stuff out. So at 4 o'clock down at the harbor, if you are a vendor, you are going to be down there, and you might need a little bit extra help. We'll have, like I said, quite a few athletes, coaches, and things like that. So feel free to ask. It's just our way of giving back to the community and appreciate everything that the community does for us.
Right. And then I want to get back to the field a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a packed house last week. A lot of fans, a lot of alumni. Had been back, and I talked to a couple of them and said, I haven't been to a game in years.
Yeah.
So, but they were back last week, and I'm sure that everyone is very impressed with the entire complex, from the new track to the new field. But we really utilized that scoreboard last week.
Yeah.
So, some really nice sponsors stepped up in order to make that happen, and we got to see a preview of the capabilities there, and we want to give a shout out to Mr. Dennis Larson.
Yes.
He works in media there at the school, and Dennis did a really superb job putting a video together, kind of a pump up video.
Yeah.
Had music to it, and of course it was our own entrance music, and a lot goes into that, I'm sure, and Dennis would say, oh, it was nothing, but it was impressive.
It was, and on the short amount of time that he put that together, he may say it's nothing. I could spend a whole week and
still not be done with it.
Not get close. And so, it's something that our kids loved. Obviously, is a neat experience. And even visiting with Butler later, I had some meetings for our conference this week, and they were very impressed with it. And for the field, I think their AD had made the comment. He said, "Hey, thanks. I think all of our fans want a turf field like Warsaw's now." He said, I hear that a lot, and so. It is, we can't say it enough. I know KY3 came up and they did a piece on it, and it's like I tell them, it's something that our kids are proud of, our community's proud of, and if you haven't had a chance to come out and see it, check it out, and it really is. I mean, it's top notch for any program, let alone a 2A program,
right.
and very well deserved. And like I said, it's not just our football kids; it's kids every day, our classrooms and all sports that get to use it.
Right, and of course that board actually holds the capabilities where I believe there's going to be a class instituted into the curriculum out there where they're actually going to work on some film and producing some videos for that board too. So
yeah, that's one I know that the scoreboard company said this first year you might use that thing to 25% of its capabilities. I mean, just it's endless, and we wanted to get it there, get it set up, make sure we don't mess anything up, and then Mrs. Pate and our mass media classes, they're going to start putting together some things and working on some things, because it's an opportunity for kids to potentially earn a scholarship running it at in colleges.
Right. Okay, so if you haven't had a chance to see that board or the facilities or this team, tonight the Wildcats travel to Skyline, drive down 65. It's 25 minutes. We'll see you at Skyline tonight. If you can't make it tonight, the Wildcats will be back at home at Randy Marr Field next week, and you can catch it there. For now, I am Adam Howe from all of us here at BCE TV. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to the house.
This has been a BCE TV production. Thank you for watching.